like to introduce Ms. Janae Davis.
They have two girls, Maya Danielle Hall and Morgan Dion Hall, who are 8 years old and 4 years old. He graduated from West Lawrence High School in 2002. He attended Georgia Southern University, where he graduated in 2006 with a Bachelor of Science degree in History Education. He later attended Georgia College and State University, where he received a master's and specialist degree in educational leadership in 2007 and 2008. In 2014, he graduated from Georgia Southern University with his doctorate in education and curriculum studies. His dissertation is titled African American Teenage Males Speak Out: The Influence of African American Males on the Academic Achievement, Identities, and Lives of African American Teenage Males. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to my uncle, Dr. Oprah Jermaine Hall.
First off, good morning, and thank you for the invite. It's a pleasure, absolutely wonderful opportunity to be here. I'm not going to hold up too much of my time with welcoming and introducing people. As she said, Janae is my wonderful niece. Her mother is my sister-in-law, Miss Rita Davis. My mother-in-law, Miss Margot Watson, and my wife is here, Miss Erica Hall, and I'm grateful for them. When I was given the task of speaking with you this morning, they told me to talk about myself. And so I'm going to be honest. She didn't read all of the bio, so you may have to Google to get the rest, because I'm going to be obedient and do what I'm told to do, but I'm probably too humble to waste 20 minutes of your time talking about yourself, because I'm just simply not that important. I'll give you some background information that'll help you understand a little bit more about who I am. As she stated, I am O.J. Hall. I graduated from West Lawrence High School, where I played basketball for 4 years. I signed a college scholarship to play basketball at Bruton Parker University, which I went 1 year, then I transferred and ultimately ended up finishing up at Georgia Southern University, where I attended twice to attain my bachelor's degree and then my doctorate degree as well. I taught U.S. history and American government and world history at West Lawrence High School, which is right across town from you all. We often see each other a lot on the competitive field. I also became an assistant principal and head basketball coach at West Lawrence High School, and then I went on to become the principal at East Lawrence Middle and High School, and now I am the associate superintendent in Lawrence County School System. And so that's just kind of a snapshot of who I am, and then I'll introduce you to some other areas of my life throughout my 20 minutes, and I promise not to go over. But what I thought it would be more fitting for you, that I felt like would benefit you more, is if I gave you some type of idea of some things that work for me that I feel like may work for you on your journey as you prepare to transition from high school to life after high school and so forth. Like many, I grew up in a situation that was pretty good, to be candid. I had great parents, my mom and dad, but financially we were the furthest thing from having a lot of money and a lot of resources. We had enough. My dad always made sure that, and my mom. But to put it into perspective, my mom was a factory worker. She worked back in a time where minimum wage was $4.25. And so like some of you, I understood what it felt like to see things that you wanted, but you couldn't get it. In my household, you got stuff certain times of year. Birthdays, Christmas. If you made honor roll, and I didn't know much about it then, but I couldn't wait to hear the words income tax. Now, I feel a little bit different about it now that I have to pay those income taxes. But my point is, I kind of understand all sides of it and both sides of it. And so if you want to be able to achieve success and be all that you can be, you have to make a lot of promises to yourself. And my family worked hard for us, but I made a promise to myself. As I told you, my mom, you're going to hear me talk a lot more about her experience. My dad worked for BA, federal government job, pretty good to be candid. But I'll be honest, the majority of my character was built by watching the type of job my mom worked. $4.25 an hour, and leave, paid leave, vacation, all that, which means if you got sick, if you was off work, you just didn't get no pay. And I remember at about 14 years old, and this is no offense to those type of jobs, but I remember at 14 years old, I remember telling myself, and you got to excuse my English, I promise I'm educated, but at the same time, the truth is the truth, so I tell it how I feel it and how I see it. But I said to myself, I ain't never working for nobody. That even if one of my family members die, or I get sick and get the flu, I don't even get a paycheck. That's just a promise I made myself. Now, once I made that promise to myself, there were certain things that I had to do and that I had to be willing to do in order to make that happen. And so I'm just going to go through 4 things real quick, and then I'm going to get out your way. But one of the things that you have to start making a decision on right now is, who are you going to surround yourself with? I challenge you to surround yourself by people that are going where you're trying to go, that have already been there, and that are successful while doing it. I'm not a betting person, but if I was betting, I guarantee you I could win a bet by asking you. If you would show me who your 5 closest friends are, without ever meeting you, I'll tell you who you are. Because we are just like the people that we hang around. And so I challenge you today, don't be afraid to get rid of people in your life that don't mean you no good. You hang on to people that's going somewhere. You find people that's at where you trying to go. And the ones that don't want to join along for the ride, get rid of them. And choosing that circle of friends in life, always aim to find a group of people that got people in it that's smarter than you. Don't take pride being at the top because you're the biggest fish in a small pond. Some of the biggest mistakes I've seen athletes make, because I am an athlete, I've been an athlete, I've been a coach, they think they're somebody in a small pond, and as soon as they leave to go off to school and get punched in the mouth the first time, they quit. Because they've never been surrounded by people to make them aim for higher, to be higher, and to be better. So that's the first challenge that I leave with you on this morning, is surround yourself by the right people. That's what I had to do that ensured myself that I would never work a job that controlled me. I always tell people I graduated from Georgia Southern University to teach students and to educate. But when I walked down the aisle and I got that diploma, it didn't tell me where I had to do it at and where anybody could make me do it at. And so I challenge you with that. The number 2 thing that I challenge you with, first was make sure you surround yourself with good people. But number 2, make sure that you are a service to your community. Now, when I say community, this is what I mean. Not Dodge County, not Eastman. Yes, that's your community. Your school is your community. Your church is your community. Whatever organization you're part of is your community. I knew that if I did not want to be in a situation where people were going to control me, tell me when they were going to pay me, tell me when I could get sick, tell me when I could attend my parents or whoever funeral one day, that I had to do certain things, and that was number 2. I had to be a service in my community. So I told you that I would tell you a little bit more about myself as I went throughout the speech this morning. Currently, right now, I'm a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. If you watch the Super Bowl, you saw them making appearance during halftime. I'm also a 32nd degree Mason. I am the chair and vice chair of the W Lawrence Leadership Board. I'm currently on the Chamber of Commerce. I'm also, and I'm probably leaving some out because I'm on quite a few, I'm also on the Salvation Army Board. I'm also a member of Uland Bible Church, but that's just the surface. Here's my point. Don't be what I call a t-shirt wearer. This is what I mean by that. Some people join all these organizations just in the name of building a resume. You don't ever see them in the community picking up no trash. You don't ever see them in the community giving back to the homeless. You see them at church, all they do is take up a seat, a pew, and sit down. They won't say anything quiet, they won't usher, they won't attend, they won't do nothing. Don't be that person. If you want Dodge County, you want Eastman, you want your community to be better, then get off your blessed assurance and do something about it. This life is not about tables. It's about the opportunity for people to give back, and you have to service. You have to be willing to be a service. Don't join an organization just so you can post on social media and get likes and show everybody that you're a member of a club and organization and have attended the first meeting, barely pay your dues. The club sponsor asks you to show up, you won't do it. The club sponsor asks you to practice, you won't do it. The coach asks you to sell raffle tickets, you won't do it. But you're the first one to post on social media to get likes and shares. Don't be that person. In fact, I know we're not in church on Sunday morning, but look at your neighbor and say, don't be that person. Do it again. Church another day, but after you hear you say, don't be that person. Now, after you've ensured that you are of service to your community. This next one, if you don't remember anything else, I ask you to join in and remember this. But the next thing I had to do after those first two was be a person, and I challenge you to this, be a person that don't walk around asking for favors, but be a person that walk around looking for opportunities. Because there's a difference. Favors come with a price tag. I do you a solid, you do me a solid. I do something for you, you do something for me. And there's a subtitle in this section that I have to give. Don't ever become the person that you despise the most right now. I watch people that grow up in communities like this, and they can't stand communities like this and the kind that I live in. This is what they say. I love mine, I hope you do too, but I want to tell you what they say. Well, you can't do anything if devil learns kind of God, because it's all about who you are, who you know. That's the statements they make. I'm not saying it's not true sometimes, but that's the statements they make. But soon as they graduate college, and soon as they want the big time job, guess how they want to get it? Based on who they know. Don't ever become who you despise. I don't say this privately, I say it humbly. I'm the associate superintendent of Lawrence County School. And I can stand before you with a camera on because it's the truth is said, and say I've never asked anyone for a favor. I've never once called a sheriff deputy and say, hey, I got this ticket, can you get me out of it? I got two daughters that attend school at East Lawrence Primary and East Lawrence Elementary. I've never once called the principal of the school at their superior office and said, can you make sure my kid get in this class? I had two nephews that came through and graduated that played football, basketball, and track. I never once used my position to call and ask for a favor to say put them on the court. If they're good enough to play, if not, they can sit at the bench and cheer for their teammates because that builds character and it builds manhood. That's what community is about. So don't become the person that you despise. So start looking for opportunities instead of favor. Let me tell you why, and then I go to point number 4. A favor, you go pay it back one day. An opportunity, you own it. Which means it's yours, which means nobody can take it away from you. That's why you want an opportunity over a favor. And when you get that opportunity, maximize it. Another example, a favor is going to ask your teacher, can I borrow a few points so I can stay eligible? An opportunity is you got homework, do it, turn it in, and you got 100 instead of a 0. That's the difference between favor and opportunity. Number 4, and I'm running short on time, so I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Number 4, for you to be able to sit in an auditorium like this and do as well as you're doing and act the way that you're supposed to act and defy what society says, they say you can't bring them all to the gym like this, and you prove that you can do that. I have no doubt that you're going to be successful. And so because of that, that's really what number 4 comes at. Continue to remain humble and give back to your community. Because you're going to do great things. But kind of like the whole situation of not becoming who you despise, once you do great things, always continue to be humble and to give back. You heard me say my mom worked for $4.25 an hour. Her son today has $8. But when she called me, I hushed and I listened. You know why? Because I'm humble. I'll never be smarter than her, and she's my mama. Me and my mama don't fuss. We ain't got nothing to fuss about. She's mama. Now, I can disagree, and I can quietly say, well, I'll talk to you later, but me and my mama not fussing. I don't care how much money I ever make. I don't care how many degrees I get. I don't care how many awards I win. I don't care how many accolades I'm a part of. I don't care how many social clubs I am. Pride comes before the great fall. So I don't care how high and how successful, how smart you think you are. Always remain humble. People like to be around good people. Remain humble. And so I'm going to recap. You got to make sure you choose the circle of people that you hang with wisely. You have to make sure that you are a service to your community. You have to make sure that you look for opportunities and not favors. And you have to remember that you got to remain humble. But the last thing I'm going to do in closing is not a challenge. Challenge is a thing that you can accept or not. Those 4 things I just listed, they work for me. You may have a different 4. You may choose not to do those 4. This last thing that I'm going to tell you, though, is not a challenge. It's a necessity because no matter how successful you are, it's guaranteed to happen because life is no life. And this is the final thing, and it's not mine, so I'm going to give credit where credit due. I stole it from the girls' coach or the women's coach for the university to do. But you got to learn how to handle hard if you're going to be successful. and everybody get a trophy, no matter how bad they are, what they do. But news flash, news alert, that is not real life. You gonna have to be able to handle hard, because hard is going to happen. I have no doubt that in the gym with this many people right now, some of you made your way to school this morning handling hard. Hard is when things are going great, you're being successful, you have no reason to even be upset or sad. And you ride in your car and you get the phone call and your mom or dad done got a bad doctor's report, or you done got one. Handling hard is people assume that you get fired and that you lose jobs because you do a bad job. Another news flash, sometimes you get fired for doing the right thing. It's Black History Month. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X was killed for doing the right thing. You got to learn how to handle hard. Life is easy. It's gravy when everything is going to great. But if you find me a successful person, I'll show you somebody that knows how to handle hard, because you don't get to control when hard is going to come. You don't get to control when it's your senior year, the game is on the line. You should have won. You did everything right to win, and the ref made a bad call and blew it. You have no control over that. But you got to be able to handle hard, because hard is not based on all the time the decisions you make. I know we give y'all these cliches. If you always do right, then right, but those are cliches. You can do everything right, and here's the reality about life. Bad things are coming. Hard is going to happen. But how you handle hard is going to determine how successful you're going to be. And so just in closing, to recap, you got to ensure that you surround yourself by and with the right people. I told you when I stand by, you show me your 5 closest friends, I don't know about to meet you. I know who you are. I'm an African-American man in America. I ain't a person, excuse my English, I ain't a person I hang with that don't take care of their kids as a black father. You can't be around me if you don't take care of your kids. Because I don't roll like that. And I'm not going to be identified with you. I'm better than that, and you should be too. And I challenge you to do the same thing. If somebody not doing their work, they can't get to school on time, they can't get to class, and every time you turn around, they spend more time in the office than in class. Rid yourself of them. It's not personal, it's business. Serve your school, serve your community. PBIS and all those awards are good, but nobody should have to give you a token coin to pick up a piece of trash off the floor. Serve your community. You see trash on the floor, this is your school. Pick it up, put it in the trash can. That's what service is about. That's what service is about, is finding a way to make whatever situation you in better. When you talk about service, whatever team you play for, whatever classroom you walk in, whatever you do in Dodge County, I challenge you that whenever you leave it, it's better than how you found it. Every time I walk onto a job, I gotta go. That's to make it better than what I found. But then another thing I want to recap is about making sure you be humble and you give back. Not only do I make sure that whatever job I walk into, or whatever church I join, or whatever organization I join, I leave it better than what I found, but I always reach back and pull somebody up. Don't be one of those people that when you get your blessing and walk through the door, you turn around and close the door so nobody else can't get through it, because you want to be the big person in town so nobody else has what you had, got what you got the accolades you got. Matter of fact, I'll give you an asterisk to put beside that. If things get worse once you leave, it means you didn't do a good job while you was there. So aim to leave situations better than what you find, and then leave the door open for your younger brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews and first cousins to come behind, because as we celebrate Black History Month, that's what Dr. Martin Luther King did for us. That's what Rosa Parks did for us. And so I challenge you to do the same thing. Once again, I'd like to thank the administration, the Board of Education, Dr. Long, the superintendent, for caring enough to have a program like this for 4 times a month within Black History Month. And more than that, though, the fact that you all as young people were able to do what society said that you can't do, which is sit down for 20 minutes and actually be attentive and respectful. I close by asking you to give yourself a hand.